Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first of two staff showdowns. I'm Will Schick.
I'm Will Pagani.
That's right, and we're here to bring you the first of our Grymkin staff games from Lock and Load 2017 on our last day of streaming. Our first game features lead developer Jason Souls taking the King of Nothing at the helm and running up against, I don't even know who his opponent is. It's very exciting. Nobody told me. Nobody let me know anything about this besides Jason was playing. There he is, Jason Green, apparently. So we've got Battle of the Jasons.
Oh, they did it to me again.
They did.
The last game I commented on had two Aarons.
Yeah.
And now we have two Jasons. Oh, man. All right, well, this could be confusing, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
No, we got this. It's Green versus Souls.
Green versus Souls.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So we got
Cryx
King of
versus
Nothing
Grymkin.
playing into Dark Host, it looks like here. We have Iron Lich Asphyxious, which should be Asphyxious 1. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see how Jason does with King of Nothing. I've been watching him play over the weekend.
Yeah.
He's been playing against a lot of heavy Jack armies.
Yep.
But seeing him into an infantry list is going to be something that I don't think Jason has quite as much experience, at least this weekend, against. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Souls. One of the things I like about Souls' Grymkin army is one of the few that you see without a death knell.
Yes.
He went death knell-less.
I'm personally a big fan of King of Nothing in the Dark Menagerie theme force, but Jason really likes him in Bump in the Night.
Bump in the Night. Mm-hmm.
So, and it's King of Nothing, so he has that negative armor aura around him.
Right.
So he doesn't normally play with the Death Knell with King of Nothing, which is kind of interesting.
Unique. It's a bold choice.
Sure,
we would say.
I mean, because of the list choice that he's made, though, he doesn't have any of the heavy war beasts, I don't think. Or no, he's got a Skin and Moans.
He has a Skin and Moans. He's got 4 Krabbits, 1 Gorehound, a Skin and Moans. He's got the Nayslayers. He's got 2 full units of Dreadrots, 1 full unit of Holloman with the UA. He's got a Glimmerimp. He's got the Twilight Sisters. He's got a Lord Longfellow, and he has a Witchwood.
Nice. So I'm interested to see how he can get his kind of corpse mechanics moving for that Skin and Moans.
He also has Murder Crows. Those are important because they gain ambush from the theme.
Yes, absolutely. So those are going to be sneaking off to the sides here. I'm interested to see how the corpse economy works with the Skin and Bones without a death knell. It can be pretty difficult to get that to work out. Jason is an experienced Grymkin player, though. We've been playtesting him for quite
I
a
don't
while.
think that Mr. Green is playing Dark Host because he's got Satixus Raiders on the table.
Oh, I'm just going off what I saw.
Yeah, no. Those Satixus Raiders were kind of hiding up top, but now that I'm looking at that full table view, it looks like this is just vanilla Cryx.
There they are. That's awesome. Let's see how it goes.
Soul's already saying that he's cheating by deploying too far forward. Just drawing that back.
Pull him back. So the Holloman should be very strong against the Banes that I saw in there.
Yes.
They ignore stealth, so not that we are playing Dark Host, but if we were playing Dark Host, they would be able to see through the Prowl. But they're going to be very, very weak against the Satixus Raiders.
Right.
Their additional defense against range attacks will make Holloman's very low rat of 5 very sad.
No, it would require 4 of them CRAing to even put it at average.
So they'll maybe kill 2 Satixus, and then they
will get murdered by lacerator whips.
Yes.
Hello, boys.
We'll have a great time just cutting him down. The Dreadrots, on the other hand, they're a little bit better off. They need 8s. There is a Glimmerimp up there, so that can take it down to 6s, which is probably part of Jason's plan. I'm also going to assume that... here we go. We've got Mr. Green's list here, which is Iron Lich Asphyxious, the Wither Shadow Combine, 2 Death Rippers, Cankerworm Nightmare, 10 Bane Warriors with a UA, 10 Satixus Raiders with a UA, Derek Wraith, and a Bane Lord Tartarus. And Oz would be very upset with me right now, because I said UA twice, and they are command attacks.
I call them UAs. They still attach to units.
They do.
Still technically correct.
But you know how that goes. Oz is just grumpy all the time.
Oz is grumpy all the time. He's like a walrus.
That is why we decided, yeah.
You should call him Papa Walrus
Papa
from now
Walrus?
on. Papa Walrus.
We'll see how he likes that.
He won't, because he's grumpy all the time. We've already established this. There's no way to make him happy.
I do remember when we were doing the, who in the office is which to fire. Oz was the king of nothing. So
right.
This is
just sitting on his stump,
game.
being cranky.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so the Glimmerimp, I think, is going to really help against the Satixus Raiders, dropping their defense by 2 while they're within 5 inches of him.
Yeah.
With his paralyzing gaze, I believe it's called. And the King of Nothing does have a very powerful trump card in these infantry-based matchups called Taste of Ash. So whenever one of his war beasts is disabled, it will do D3 damage to the model that disabled it, and then an additional D3 damage to D3 models around that
Right.
model, the closest. So that's a lot of D3s.
It is. It is a lot of D3s, and typically, you know, when you see King of Nothing played, again, bucking the trend, 4 Krabbits is about half the number of Krabbits that I think most people wind up taking to make maximum effect of Bitter Ash.
I know I've got 8 in my list, so we'll see if Jason's list can hold its own here, and maybe he'll just prove me wrong.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of dudes
He does.
that are
He does
very
indeed.
easy to kill as well,
He does.
so you can bait those out.
It does only trigger on war beasts, though.
Still has a lot of dudes that you can kill.
For sure,
Come
for
on
sure.
now.
And his dudes do hit very hard. He has access to Scything Touch, gets
Yep.
those Dreadrots up to POW 12 with the
Weapon Master?
The effective -2 armor. They are certainly Weapon Masters.
Mm-hmm.
He also has a unit of Nae Slayers, which can pretty much make short work of about anything in this Cryx list at the moment, if they get there, which is always the trade-off for Nae Slayers.
Well, you know, against Cryx, there's no real range threat on the Cryx side outside of Asphyxius's Hellfire.
Sure, he does have 2 Arc Nodes, so...
He could Hellfire a couple of them. Twilight Sisters will bring 2 back.
So here we go. We have a Cankerworm, who I love. The Cankerworm is one of my favorite character jacks in Cryx. I don't know, he's just so cute. He's got those little mandible claws. He's adorable.
There's nothing more fun than, you know, scavenging a destroyed Warjack and being like, this is mine now.
This is mine.
This is me. Look at me. You know what other 2 Arcana cards Souls picked up?
I do not know.
I'm going to go find out. I'll be right
Excellent.
back. You talk.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right, so it looks like our deployments are done. Jason is going to start taking up his first turn here. Jason Souls, I'm sorry. Nope. We've got some advanced deploy popping up here. The Witchwood across from the Satixis Raiders here, they are the only living models in Mr. Green's army, so that will be the only targets for Bewitch from the Witchwood.
So Souls has picked Accursed and Labyrinth for his other Arcanas.
So Accursed will make all of these undead models into living models,
Correct.
which is always comical. I remember when we were pitching that idea
Didn't we
when it was
initially
in
call
CID.
it the Meat Sack
Yes.
Arcana?
And I just remember discussing in the office, what is it like when a shifting stone turns into a little
It's
pile
gross.
of meat?
It's real gross.
And I think it's going to be pretty similar when these warjacks become fleshy bits as they lose their construct special move that makes them not living models. So
And the prey target, Jason also informed me, is Death Ripper 1.
excellent.
So there you go.
So I'm expecting to see a pretty standard approach here from Jason, just going to kind of run a lot of these
Running
models up.
forward.
He'll probably put out some clouds to try and stop Arc Nodes from channeling into his army on turn 1. But I don't think we're going to see too much incredible positioning or much going on here from that. I think it's just going to be a pretty standard run-up. So for those of you that are not familiar with Grymkin, being that they came out 3 days ago.
Tell us about them.
Dreadrots here have the ability to collect corpses from enemy models, both living and undead, and then they can pass those corpses off to other models. Now, it's very important for Skin and Moans to receive these corpses.
Yes, he needs the corpses.
He gains bonus strength and armor from corpses, and then he can also consume them to heal. So his stats are pretty lackluster when he does not have corpses. He can collect them himself, but the Dreadrots can usually do it a little safer than he can, because then you're not trading your Skin and Moans for 1 or 2 Bane Warriors. You're trading a couple Dreadrots for them, which is a much more favorable game state here.
Yeah, I mean, once he goes up to arm 19, and then typically when you stack the Death Knell with him, goes to arm 21, he's very durable.
But I think Jason's more relying on his defense here of 13, and then with the Taste of Ash Clouds, not Taste of Ash Clouds, the
Burning Ash.
Burning Ash Clouds.
So much ash.
So much ash.
Ash everywhere.
With
like
those
Grandma's
clouds,
house.
it gives living models -2 to hit. And some people will notice that, oh man, there's not very many living models in this Cryx list, except
He can turn them all
the
living.
Accursed Trump Arcana card, or the Accursed Arcana card, will let him turn all models in his control area into living models. And the trigger for that is once you damage a model with a corpse. So if they attack a Dreadrot that's perhaps in the way of the Skin and Moans, or something like that, or attack the Skin and Moans itself once it's received corpses, you can then turn all of those models into living models, thus to be affected by the Burning Ash Clouds.
See a Krabbit using its Animus there that advanced up into the center.
Crabs are usually used as an anti-shooting piece. They have shield guard, and then their animus is elusive, which is very, very powerful animus to be on such a cheap model, which gives the caster dodge. So they're very hard to pin down, and they can really absorb a lot of ranged attacks. Now, this Cryx army doesn't have very many ranged attacks, so Jason is just kind of using these to get up there. They'll probably buy some attacks into some lower defense models, that kind of stuff.
Tell us about the scenario that they're playing, because this is not like any 2016 scenario I've ever seen.
No, so this is a Steamroller 2017 scenario here, and if you see it, it is quite a bit different from the 2016 scenarios.
It looks like a barbell.
It does look like a barbell. There are 3 different scenario elements that are important here. There are the 2 circle zones, and then, of course, the rectangular zone in the middle. In the new Steamroller 2017, different model types are required to control each of these different zones.
Every model can contest all the zones.
Correct, yes. Except for Warcasters and Warlocks. They cannot contest.
Correct.
But other than that, anything can contest. So the circular zones on the north and south sides of the board here. So these 2 zones right here, this one and this one, can only be controlled by units. This is a change from the CID that this went through. Previously, solos were able to control these zones. We decided to give solos a different job, which is to control flags, which are not present in this scenario. And then this square zone here in the middle is controlled by Warjacks, Warbeasts, and Battle Engines. There's no more friendly or enemy zones, so every zone is able to be scored by everyone. And Warlocks and Warcasters can always score any zone. So what this does is it helps promote list diversity a little bit. So we see 2 very diverse lists here. We've got Warjacks on both sides. We've got infantry on both sides. And it helps kind of create a more dynamic gameplay where you see less people just kind of getting shut out on scenario.
Right.
And losing the game or winning the game in that direction.
And just to clarify, Warcasters or Warlocks can no longer score flags.
They can score flags.
They can score.
Yes, they can score everything.
Okay. You just said all the zones. I wanted to make sure that
Yes.
that we were clear.
Yes, indeed. So the CP point scoring works that direction, and then to actually win the game, instead of just scoring 5 points like you do in 2016, you must score 5 more than your opponent. So that allows for a lot more counterplay from your opponent in terms of just being able to score his own points to stop you from winning on scenario, and not necessarily having to throw away large portions of his army just to contest his own to stop you from scoring one last point. So I'm personally a big fan of the diversity that this new scenario packet brings, and I'm hoping that it's going to go really well. It does seem like we have a pretty standard advance coming on from Mr. Green here. This Death Ripper hiding behind a wall. I just heard Jason remind him that he has ambush, so he may be a little too close to that board edge. So he's going to turn his Death Ripper there to face the board edge so the Murder Crows do not receive back arc here.
Yeah, so for those in the Twitch stream that are asking, the King of Nothing is Fury 8.
Yes.
He's the arcane baller of the Grymkin Defiers.
I mean, I think Old Witch might actually be more arcane-y than he is because she has her giant machine helping her out. But
That's cheating, though.
Yeah, this is just a guy in a tree. Like, he doesn't have any help from anyone.
He's got a hood on, some mushrooms.
And a wee little crown.
So it's a small crown.
Yes. So we got
It's pretty standard turn from the Cryx player as well here, from our other Jason.
It is excellent to see 2 beautifully painted armies here
Yes.
as well. Mr. Green's Cryx is fantastic. And seeing it in person looks actually much better than it does here on screen. The blue is very vibrant and very pretty. Very, very pretty. But I imagine that we're going to see a pretty standard battle line formed here. Kinkerworm's moving on up, getting in the front. He's got a pretty high defense stat, so he's not too scared of those Dreadrouts that are only mat 6. But we will see. One of the things that's very crazy about King of Nothing is he's kind of squirrely. He can do all sorts of really weird and different things. He's got, besides Burning Ash, which can create smoke clouds, he has things like Sands of Fate, which allow him to transport to trooper models. And one of the...
At the low cost of that trooper's life.
Oh, he doesn't care.
And he does not.
This is not of any concern.
If you were playing
to
the King of Nothing correctly, he would just Sands of Fate his entire army on turn 1.
Boop, boop. Just costs 2, so you cast it 4 times a turn and just wreck your own dudes.
That's an achievement unlocked. If you play a War Machine game with King of Nothing and you Sands of Fate your entire army
that does
before
seem,
the end of the game.
That does seem like a great thing to do here. But the King is very mobile with Sands of Fate. I was talking about a little bit earlier how I like to play him in Dark Menagerie, the War Beast theme force, where Jason prefers Bump in the Night. So Jason gets a lot more work out of Sands of Fate than I do, because I normally only have 1 unit of Dreadrots. So I mostly use it to move forward and then teleport backwards.
75, right? Jason's playing 75.
Jason's playing 75. Yeah, so I usually use it to teleport backwards, whereas you'll see Jason get a lot more aggressive with his models, and then his aggressive use of Sands of Fate to apply the negative armor aura from King of Nothing, which is called Master of Ruin, which does make sense.
With apparition happening now from the Hallman.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna see some dead Bane Thralls here soon. Mulg's tree is not exactly living, though. It's more of a stick.
All right. Here we go. The Witchwood is advancing up and using that Bewitched rule.
He's going to try to take control of the Styxis there.
Yes. But he has missed.
It's not an easy shot, as you pointed out.
No, they do bump up to defense 16. And here come those Dreadrots that need these 8s to hit. So I wouldn't imagine this charge to be too effective. Maybe he'll kill 1 or 2 Styxis here.
Depends. Looks like he's only going to get 4 in, so more likely 1.
Yep, more likely 1 than 2. Though 2 is certainly in the realm of possibility.
I mean, 4 is in the realm of possibility. He just rolls like a baller.
How about the reasonable realm of possibility?
The reasonable, yeah.
The
probable.
Expected outcome.
Yeah.
Oh, that Glimmer Imp just ran before the charge attack.
I think he just ran in.
Oh, he just ran?
I don't
Okay.
know that he charged.
Okay.
Actually.
All right.
I would have to assume since he didn't roll attacks, so.
That would make sense. All right, our Hollowmen are advancing here, and it looks like they're going to try and kill some of these Bane Warriors.
I mean, or they're just going to advance and not shoot. Maybe Jason's entire battle plan now is just like, I'm not going to do anything to you.
That is very King of Nothing.
Yeah.
I will do nothing.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to play with you. Come some gunshots, and I missed it. Did the Murder Crows didn't ambush this turn, did they?
I do not believe so, no. It's almost worth holding those in reserve just to scare your opponent as long as you can, because that's a great psychological tool here.
Agreed. Well, and especially in this scenario where you have 2 zones that can be controlled by units on the flanks, right?
Absolutely.
Like, holding them until you have your moment to start scoring points is pretty powerful.
Yes. So if you look here, the board edge is right about here where the camera is. Oh, no, they did ambush in. So there they are right there.
Oh, they're there. Yep.
So I believe this Death Ripper is their prey. So they're going to charge on in here. And then with these Hollow Men here, he's really going to be able to put pressure on this bottom scenario zone. He's also got this Gorehound, which has Ghostly. So he's going to be able to come up here. He's pretty high defense, which Banes have some issues with. So I imagine that Gorehound will survive, not only contesting the zone, but also being able to help clear it the next turn.
Right.
He also has a pretty solid hold on that northern zone with that full unit of Dreadrots and the Witchwood there. So Jason looks like he's making a pretty strong scenario push already.
Correct.
Starting out off on turn 2. He won't score any points, but he's really trying to get the board control, the presence of all of these models to be felt.
Well, the really nice thing about the Gorehound is between Ghostly and its Animus Lightning Strike, it'll be able to, like you said, basically use that force to great effect, come in, murder some stuff, run away.
Absolutely. Hide back in there, out of line of sight. And here's the second unit of Dreadrots moving on up into that middle zone, just applying pressure. When you do have low-quality infantry, such as Dreadrots, Mechanothralls, things like that, A lot of the times you can kind of pay with their lives to gain to gain board advantage here. Board advantage being the concept that the farther forward you are on the board, the more room you have to play with, essentially, and the less room that your opponent has to play with here. So the board advantage gained from having sort of throwaway units can be very, very great. So you see these Dreadrots are moving up in the middle. There's a Skin and Moans that's going to move up behind them, thus protecting him from any types of charges or anything at the cost of their own lives. This Murder Crows are indeed preying on this Death Ripper.
Yep. And with Gang, it's going to make them
It does make them into
very effective.
Mat 10, POW 13. So I do not see this going well for this poor little Death Ripper.
No. So 9 points to start off.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So it takes about 9 points to 5, a little less than half its hit points. He hits because of his Mat 10, which is fantastic.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
So I do imagine these Satixis up here to do a lot of work. This unit of Satixis, I'm going to guess, kill something like all of these Dreadrots this next turn. Just with the Satixis, because they get 2 attacks each with Gang. They have a very high mat score.
Sure.
Their POW is sufficient to destroy the armor 14 Dreadrots. Like, it's I don't see a great day for these guys with the pumpkin heads going.
Well, you know, that's what they're there for.
It is.
So 3 Murder Crows are able to destroy the Death Jack.
The Death Jack. The Death Ripper.
The Death Ripper. Yeah, the Death Jack.
It's a very small Death Jack.
It's little. It was the first form of the Death Jack. He hadn't accelerated to final form there.
He hasn't grown up. He was just in high school. And the Murder Crows take out 1 more Bane there. The Nayslayers here. These guys are my favorite unit in the entire army of Grymkin. One, they look amazing.
They're really good.
They're little
so
gremlins running around hobby horses with tiny lances.
The important part about the hobby horses is that these aren't your typical, like, hobby horses. These are just sticks with ripped off horse heads attached.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
because that's what gremlins would do.
Yeah, clearly.
And they're on fire, in case that wasn't clear.
They're running so fast that they're setting fire with their little, like, back wheels.
Yes.
Because the wheels are just metal. So it's, like, sparking like crazy.
Every time I look at these models, it just makes me happy. And they have all sorts of different iconography on them. So
there comes a hopping crabbit.
Boing, boing.
And that, like we talked about with Taste of Ash, the Crabbit's ability to just basically leap right into the middle of your opponent's army and be like, okay, either kill me or I'll bite you to death. And when you kill me, I'll explode and hit everything. So good.
So I do imagine, probably not this turn. I'm going to guess in the next turn is when the Taste of Ash is going to get played. Because I don't see too many of these Crabbits dying. I see mostly Dreadrots going down here. So next turn would be my guess on the Taste of Ash use. We do have a Lord Longfellow on top of that hill right in the middle of our screen at the moment. Right here. And this is a model that you need to be very, very careful with your Warcaster around. He has the Finisher special rule, so if you're damaged at all, he gets an additional damage dice. And then also has a new rule in the game called Fortune Hunter, which gives him boosted attack and damage rolls against character models. So all Warcasters are going to be characters. Certain things like Cankerworm, Tartarus, all of those type models are all certainly characters. So Longfellow is very, very good at doing huge amounts of damage to those type models.
His big limiting factor is just the range on his pistols. I mean, range 10, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's not great. It's pretty average.
Better than the 8 it used to be.
That is true. That is true. We felt that his impact on the game was not quite enough when he was only range 8, and that when he would go up, if it wasn't to end the game by shooting a Warcaster, he would very quickly perish afterwards. So range 10 really helps him be a little more contribution from a turn to turn.
Well, and I mean, Def 16 and Reciprocate is not bad either.
Absolutely. If you target him with range attacks, he gets to shoot you back if he survives. And with Def 16, he's very likely to survive.
He often survives, yes.
I mean, at the moment, he's on a hill, so if you try to shoot him, he'd be Def 18. Jason could put him in a Burning Ash Cloud, which would make him against 18. So he's a hard model to pin down. He has some mobility rules like Swift Hunter, circular vision, so like you don't get backstrike bonuses against him because he is a spider in a trench coat, right?
Correct.
Like he's
a
got
spider
eyes
facing
everywhere.
the wrong way if you really start to look at the model.
That is true.
Like his human face mask is on the back of his head. He's just such a baller. He walks backwards and doesn't care.
And he's wearing cowboy boots, which is just kind of a throwback for me. Back to Texas.
Back to Texas, where spiders wear cowboy boots.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're just wandering around and they like tip their hat to you as they walk past.
Let's keep
Beautiful.
going.
It's beautiful.
Click the clack. I'm pretty sure I had one of those spiders in my bathroom last night.
I will say there are a lot more spiders up here in
There
Seattle.
are so many spiders up here, and it is spider season.
Oh, yeah. So here we go. These Satixis are moving in, and these poor Dreadrots.
They knew what they were getting into.
Did they?
They did.
They're like mind-controlled,
They
horrible people.
They were mean farmers who sold rotten food to somebody, and so their punishment was to have a Grymkin enchanted gourd placed on their heads and to basically serve as farmers for souls.
Not souls as in Jason souls.
Both.
That's a good point. I didn't actually think about it.
Yeah.
He is playing
Yes.
them right now. So here we go. This is the Satixis Dreadrot really digging deep here. She's got those 2 initial attacks, and Dreadrot's defensive stats are pretty poor at 12-14. So I think even without the gang bonus, she's got a pretty good chance of killing 1, maybe 2 after tough. And here we go. The attacks are going to come out here.
Start swinging or headbutting. So horns first.
We've scored a hit there.
Hits on a 6. Needs 7 to kill.
That's a 7.
On the nosy.
We hit a tough check here, so he is going to be knocked down. The Theme Forest Bump of the Night does give all of these models rise, all the warrior models. So when these Dreadrots do hit these tough checks, it's not going to be nearly as detrimental as they could have been for Jason in the next turn for being knocked down. They will get to activate normally.
And the Snake Eyes and the damage roll for the knockdown tough model means that he lives.
Unfortunate. Maybe Wither Shadow Combine can give him the Dark Fire.
The Dark Fire? Fire!
That's what sound Dark Fire makes, by the way.
It is.
In case that wasn't clear.
Here comes the overtake move.
Yep. We'll see if we decide to go after this Crabbit or just engage other models. Oh, the Bane taking a tumble. He got tired.
He fell over. He's like, I need a nap.
He was having a good day, but then it just hit him.
Maybe he saw those murder crows coming. He's like, if I fall down, they won't know.
Yes.
And he is definitely stuck on the ground.
Here we go.
So we see some more Dreadrots getting murdered.
Yeah, these Satixis are digging pretty deep.
They're in there. I mean, with overtake and 2 attacks, you can make some work.
There's Nick there in the background. He played all the Battles of Boardgate with us and ended up joining the Grymkin there in the end. He
treacherously joining the Grymkin in the end.
He took over a unit of Nayslayers back there behind
treacherously
the wall.
joining the Grymkin in the end.
Excellent. Looks like Jason's tough checks are not working out great for him.
You got the 1, but, I mean, so far.
He's down about 3 or 4 more, it looks like. I'm interested to know if this Satixis right here is inside of that smoke cloud or not. Because we talked about using that for the -2 mat, not just the defensive tech shooting.
But it also will work against the Satixis' living models.
Absolutely.
Another tough check gets made.
And the next turn, these Dreadrots are all going to pick up corpses when they hit back the Satixis, and that's when that accursed Arcana card is really going to come back into play here. Because the trigger is damaging a model with a corpse.
So you see a Satixis advancing into the smoke cloud. It does have Gang, though, so the Gang basically offsets the Burning Ash. Hits, and that is crit knockdown, I believe. You rolled double 4s.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see the roll, unfortunately. But it does look like the horns are getting in there.
So this is the last day of Lock and Load 2017. It's been an exciting weekend so far. We still have a bit more to come. We've got this staff game that's coming up that you're watching right now. After that, at 2, we will be bringing on the Penny Arcade guys from our Penny Arcade Plays event that's been going on for 6 weeks. And they're going to be playing, it's going to be Jamie versus Kiko, Signar versus Kador. also playing a new 2017 scenario, and they're going to be playing for the title of greatest War Machine player ever in this specific context. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. We're going to have Jerry co-hosting. We're going to be at the table. We're going to basically be coaching. I will be taking the side of Kiko, and Jerry will be taking the side of Jamie as those two players face off against each other. We're also going to be introducing Alexa to the table. So if you saw the keynote and heard us talk about our new partnership with Monocle Society and Alexa, which is going to have a rules skill set built into it that allows you to basically ask any questions that you want ultimately about War Machine or Hordes and get your answers straight from Alexa. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to have the players utilize that instead of me because I get things wrong all the time.
He does.
Thanks,
throw you right under the bus.
Yeah, thanks,
Right
Pagani.
Right
I was
on under
defending you before. Now I see how it is.
So as we see this game progress, Jason's tough checks have turned around. He's been hitting a bunch of them here, which is really reducing the effectiveness of these raiders by quite a bit. They do have the second initial attack, so they're still getting to kill these models, but it's taking way more attacks than it really should be, so it's really limiting the effectiveness of this overtake.
They do have crit knockdown, but, getting crits on 2 dice is rare. But if you can hit the crit knockdown, they're knocked down, they don't get the tough roll anymore, which is kind of nice. Still, based on where he started, there's a lot fewer dread routes on that table.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder how close my bubble drawing was here once we...
I think you're pretty close. I think there might be...
Looks like 1 or 2 survived there in the north.
Yeah, because I think the two right in front of the hill, and then the one who toughed up top. But otherwise, I think you pretty much got it.
I expected these guys to die. Definitely that guy, but he got lucky. Maybe even this guy as well. But it was pretty good. And hitting all these tough rolls down here at the bottom really could have gone better for Mr. Green here, as some of these hollow men, and maybe even that dread route there could have died. But tough is it exists.
It does.
It exists.
It's a thing. It's a thing. And, it's one of those things you can't bank on, but you also have to plan for. So, like you said, models like Statistics that have 2 initials are really good against tough, and then you throw in the crit knockdown if you can manage to score 1 or 2 that takes out the dice roll. In goes the Cankerworm. Oh, he's going to scuttle.
Oh, is he going to get that Crabbit? Or do you think he's going after the Hollow Man?
Looks like he's going after the Hollow Man.
Looks like the Hollow Man. It's one of the things that's very important when playing against Grymkin is being aware of what their Arcana cards are and what they do and how you trigger them.
Yep.
So attacking the Crabbit there could have been beneficial. You could kill a Crabbit. It could also trigger a Taste of Ash. And then maybe you can't really kill these other Crabbits that you wanted to fight. So perhaps this is calculated, that he doesn't want to trigger any of the Arcana that are based on damaging War Beasts.
Looks like we're getting an attack against the Crabbit now, which misses.
Oh, here we go.
So we're going to buy a Replicator against the Crabbit. So +1 against the Crabbit.
And where's the king at the moment? He is right here.
He's right kind of dead center.
That Master of Ruin isn't applying to very many models at the moment, that -2 armor aura, which does apply to friendly models to the king.
It's everything. He doesn't like people.
He hates everyone.
Yeah, he hates everyone equally.
And there's that reposition 5, which I affectionately still call Scuttle. How's our chat doing over there?
Right now they're talking about Alexa live firing Hungerford.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have a couple pranks built into her way back. I don't know if any of those made it to this point.
I think that they got removed for the beta, although there might still be in there. We might have missed one.
Yeah, good luck.
We had a lot.
Have fun with the Easter eggs, guys.
Yeah,
good luck.
Start asking Alexa a lot of questions about Hungerford, and maybe you'll get lucky. You never know. I'm excited to see what this Glimmer Imp does in just a moment here. This guy right here? Yeah.
Because this looks like a great run path to get -5 defense on like all
-5?
Or sorry, -2
Holy
defense
cow.
within 5 inches.
See, I get rules wrong.
-5 defense.
I'll go let Jason know.
Let's see.
Donnie says you get -5 now.
Let's see ID updated. Done.
Done.
Done. I'll put it in War Room immediately.
I mean, you could do that.
So I do wonder what Jason moved his prey to. I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know if he declared. Probably, I would guess the Bane warriors. Although he might have, I'm not sure. He might have changed it to Wraith. I mean,
it could be Durag.
he's got a good line on it there. That would be my guess. It's either Tartarus is there too, but you've got Longfellow for that. I feel like it's either Wraith or it's the Bane Warriors.
We saw a lot of the Bane changes come into play in Iron Gauntlet yesterday.
Yes,
so
it was massive.
Kind of a direct,
Especially with Dark Host happening.
a direct
all over the
CID
place.
call out in Iron Gauntlet yesterday, which has me really excited and really happy for how CID has been going.
Yes.
We've been able to make a lot of really great improvements to the game and
Yeah.
to some of the lesser used models.
Yeah. No, I think like we've always talked about, our goal is to kind of, you're never going to eliminate the curve because otherwise you're not playing an interesting game, but to keep the curve as close as possible so that even the things on the low end are still viable and useful in certain situations has always been the goal. You can control how wide that bell curve gets, you just can't eliminate it completely.
Indeed. Looks like we got a Breath of Corruption coming out here, taking out a Dreadrot.
Just kill all the Dreadrots ever. It'll be great.
I mean, without this death knell behind them, their lives are kind of in vain. You're not collecting the corpses
You are not. No.
from the Dreadrots like you could
Dreadrots do not collect themselves.
be. No. Though I do see Jason getting a bunch of corpses onto his Skin and Bones here next turn.
So the site for War Room on Alexa, for those who are interested in the chat, is monoclesociety.com/War Room. And I'm sure that our intrepid chat monitor can type that website in. It's going to ask you a couple questions, the most key of which is, do you have an Alexa device to join the beta? Because if you don't, well, I'm sorry. As much as I'd like you to participate, and you may want to participate, you do have to have an Echo or another Alexa-approved device.
Which I believe you can get it
on
on some phones and a lot of the Amazon tablets and stuff.
And I'm not 100% sure at which stage in the beta those devices will get asked for as opposed to the Echoes. I know that the Echoes are the primary start. But yeah, check it out, see what's there. If nothing else, sign up, let them know which devices you have, and as the beta rolls forward, you'll probably get invited in, depending on which devices they're looking for testers at the time. But that will be starting, I believe, next week. So get signed up now if you're interested at all. Help us get that Alexa skill set ready to go and ready to basically assist everyone across the world.
The whole world.
The whole world.
That's always what I imagine Pendrake sounding like.
Yeah.
The whole world.
It's a little decrepit for Pendrake. I mean, this dude is still like jumping down Gorgander throats and like killing them from the inside.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's good to be limber in your old age.
I see. He's just voice is old.
Yeah.
Young in body, old in voice.
Yeah. He works in academia. He's got to be like an old dude with glasses.
Oh, I see.
And then like surprise you.
Right, and surprise you.
But I'm excited to see what else Gavin Kyle can find for us in the future.
Oh, I mean, he can find so many things. So many things.
He is the greatest spy in all of it.
He is. He costs a lot of money, but he's worth it. By God, he's worth it. For chatter, Eggy Face in the stream, I'm not entirely sure when multi-language support will happen. I'm positive that is a long-term goal, but it certainly won't be part of the initial beta. All right, Pagani, draw us a picture.
Draw us a picture.
Yeah. Give us Jason's next play here.
So we had
He's got a whole lot of Cryx in his face.
We had seen sort of Jason's scenario push, which was created a line about here, maybe about here. And we're seeing the Cryx player push into it here. And he's not giving up on scenario, basically.
No.
Jason had sort of asked this question of, are you going to give me all of this board to control? And he said, no, we're going to crush back into it. And the overtake really helps you kind of gain back that board position, because like this Atixis right here really helps you push your front line. So as you kill the models, you then get to advance instead of just kind of being held in the same place. And then, of course, the Ghostly on these Bane Thralls here is allowing him to get into this forest. This Gorehound right here, though, he's going to have a good day. He's going to get to walk around like that and probably kill all 3 of these Banes in the back. They do have Tough, so maybe he'll only get 2 out of the 3, but that's all right. Anything that he does knock down, he can apparate these Hollow Men right on out of the way, and then these Dreadrots can come in, and they can collect corpses for this here Skin and Bones. So I think Jason is going to be able to get the corpse economy going for his Skin and Bones and actually get him juiced up, which is exciting.
Get him ready. Get him powered up to 9,000.
Yep. It does mean that he can take a couple hits. Not a particularly durable War Beast in general, but when he does get corpses, he can get rather substantially harder to kill. Not a huge amount of hit points, unlike the Cage Rager, which is the other heavy War Beast for the Grymkin.
Yeah, the Skin and Bones sits at 28 hit points total, which is...
It's a reasonable amount. It's not incredible.
It's all right. Yeah, it's not. He's not designed to take a punch. He wants to give the punch.
No, certainly not. He sits at about the same durability level without corpses as a Cryx Slayer or a little less than a Warpwolf in general.
I'm positive that Holden will be added to Grymkin theme forces.
Yes.
Especially ones that include Hollow Men.
I think that is a safe assumption, that will be the one that he goes in. It does look like those Bane Warriors had a miserable turn of dice there and did not kill very many guys. Maybe just 2 Hollow Men died there.
Oof.
And
well, now they're going after Murder Crows. Got a Murder Crow. That's
that
pretty
Murder
good.
Crow, yep.
Thin those guys out because they're scary.
Looks like Derek Wraith is contemplating a charge here. Oh, no, that's a Tartarus. Oh, he can add more Banes back by killing these Murder Crows.
Murder Crows to Banes. You made a mistake, Murder Crows. Join our side.
This is Tartarus's house.
This is Tartar House?
Tartar.
New from Tartar House. Cool Ranch.
And Banes.
Yes.
It's much like my Pendrake voice. Tartarus.
It is. It's similar. It's a little less old, but
a little more spooky.
I like the commercial. I can see it forming in my mind.
Little like
when I serve Banes, I use Tartar House tartar sauce.
And it's got like little little marshmallow ghosts inside of the ranch.
It? Inside the,
yeah.
the ranch with marshmallow.
It's like the worst Lucky Charms you've ever had. The worst.
And now all of a sudden, my face is there for the disgust. God, I vomited into my mouth a little bit.
It goes really, really great with broccoli.
Is it like pink marshmallow fluff? Like Lucky Charms marshmallows? They're not even marshmallows. They're just like compacted sugar.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's in ranch. And it's actually made entirely out of eggs.
I mean, the ranch is just egg yolk.
Yep.
That's just mayonnaise at that point.
It's basically the worst ranch you've ever had.
Well, what do you expect when you join Cryx, I guess?
Yep. They don't mind, though. They don't have tongues, so they can't really taste anything.
They're just skulls.
All right.
Holden 2 will not be a Grymkin Warlock. I can guarantee you that. They actually, you weren't part of it because you were doing other things, right? But they live designed him yesterday with Matt Wilson. Will Hungerford, our organized play developer, and Doug Seacat and Matt Getz were all there, as well as our concept artist Nate Fema. And they sat down with a group of like 25 people and basically concepted Holden the Hollow, I believe is his name.
Yeah, I saw, 3, 4, 5 different pieces of art come out of there that were all pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The stock of his gun was like a twisted root and stuff, and it looked really great. I'm excited to see where all that ends up in terms of his model and what he ends up looking like. And apparently he's being ridden around by a gremlin for like 2 or 3 of the different ones. So
by a gremlin.
That was certainly not in our original concept.
No,
for
not expected, but maybe.
But yeah, if that does come out, that could be quite interesting to develop and make rules for. So I'm looking forward to something like that.
And for those asking about Masters, we are not streaming any Masters games this year. We are doing the Penny Arcade Plays finale, and then we'll just have time for one more staff game with Grymkin. Next year, though, as Aggie Face points out, Iron Gauntlet is changing formats dramatically to where it's no longer a standalone format. The Iron Gauntlet is simply the championship tournament that happens at Lock and Load, and it will either use Champions or Masters format. And throughout the year for 2017, we're in 2017 now. Holy cow. My
It's
world's
flying
been
past.
rocked.
It's flying
2017 through 2018, through that season, points will be ascribed for every Champions and Masters win. So effectively, instead of having top 16, the Iron Gauntlet Finals World Championship match will be either Masters or Champions and be comprised of all the people who qualify. So it could be a 16-person event. It could be a 128-person event. It really comes down to how many Masters and Champions events happen and how many people reach the qualifying points.
So that was, while you were explaining that there, that was the most money Breath of Corruption I may have ever seen.
Where it just blew up a bunch of murder crows.
So they have stealth. Murder crows have stealth,
yep.
so he missed, and then it drifted perfectly 2 inches back towards Asphyxius, catching all 3 of the murder crows, killing all 3 of them, and putting a cloud so that the other murder crows can't really get around the side. And then he teleports back to a more central location. So that was fantastic.
That's just the Iron Lich being like, hey, I know you think my other forms are better, but I'm still the man.
And we do have some of the Iron Gauntlet terrain, Iron Gauntlet Finals table terrain here in the background that is all Grymkin
So
themed
awesome.
here. If you pay super close attention to the Iron Gauntlet Finals, you may have noticed that this table is from a few years back. It was, I believe, Corvus.
It was the
Is that
Corvus
where this
table,
is?
yep, and it used to have this really beautiful like Signarin city in the background, and it was all lustrous and exactly what you'd expect from the Jewel of the Iron Kingdoms. Now it's just been overgrown by massive, spooky trees.
And there's a Grymkin portal has formed.
Yes, I love how the table was like reimagined this way. Like if we catch some shots of it, my favorite one has to be, so all the trees are like bursting out of these. You can see it in the corner up at the left, right? You see that giant tree trunk
right
with
here.
the barrel on it? Like it's so awesome if you can and it's just like coming right out. The house is splitting open. It's just such a great like backdrop to this battle, especially with the Grymkin there. You also see that house right there. That house is real important because that's the house where Holden was trying to hide.
Here, I'm gonna draw like a little Holden right here.
Yeah, just draw a little. Make sure he has a very sad face though, like just tears.
His head is too small. These are tears. These are his tears. And then he's got like a gun. I should go into concept art. Look
You
at
should.
This is beautiful.
We got this. Was that
beautiful.
a gun or a sword?
I'll let you decide.
I'm gonna go with gun sword.
Gun sword?
Yeah, we have those all over the place.
Him and Iris are hanging out.
The SR 2017 rules go live on Monday, so
That is tomorrow.
that is tomorrow. Yeah,
those of you
we're
keeping score at
kind of
home.
doing a small pre-release here for these last games, but for the world over, 2017 is in effect tomorrow. So Masters, Champions, and Steamroller all update in 12 hours, honestly, a little less. The rules obviously won't go up until we're back in the office tomorrow, but that'll be first thing, probably 8 a.m. Any more? So the Twitch is asking if there are any more changes between the last round of CID for Steamroller and this one. I think I accidentally spoiled the fact that it's now 5 instead of 6 to the sudden death win condition.
Correct, yes. There was an insider a while back that gave a couple of tidbits here, one of which was the 5 CPs to win instead of 6. There was also the change to flags so that solos can now control flags, and solos can no longer control zones.
Game state, Souls. Game state.
Judge,
Ruined
get him out of
everything. See the Gorehound doing what we were talking about there, where it just jets up, kills some stuff, comes back with a sprint.
here. Pieces right on out.
Anything you think of that wasn't in the Insider that's different?
It's hard to remember what exactly we've changed.
Welcome to my life, Pagani.
Yes.
All of a
Yes,
sudden,
indeed.
your accuracy is going to start to tank.
I do know we changed the recon scenario, recon 2. We moved around the flags a little bit to make it a little more interesting and a little less miserable for people playing with Battle Engines and Colossals.
Sure.
We got a ton of feedback for people, because that was the one with the 2 sort of horizontal zones, or I guess vertical zones if you're looking at your opponent, and then the flags were kind of in the middle of those zones, and it made it very difficult to put terrain out and have the flags there and really have the middle of the board stay relevant for Colossals and Battle Engines. So we ended up moving those flags around in the zones.
Oh, that bunny's
move
not going
them a
to
little
balance
closer.
their souls.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, it's going to fall over.
That bunny is a professional.
That bunny is a professional acrobatic bunny.
Yep.
Do you happen to know when CID Cray and the Stormlance changes? When are we looking at those becoming live?
I think we're hoping in the next couple weeks here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think August, right? Like first week in August?
Should be pretty close there, yes. If not a little earlier. End of the month-ish.
Yep.
To first week of August, somewhere in there.
And that'll include Cray, it'll include the Stormlances, Lattimore.
It'll also have the Assault change.
The Assault change,
So all of you guys that love your Blighted Ogre and War Spears, they
no
will
longer have to worry about them stabbing each other in the back.
Yes.
Because of their nearsightedness.
Correct. So that's always nice. I definitely had a playtest game with Souls not too long ago where I had some Man-O-War charge and Assault, and 5 of them assaulted, and 1 of them made a melee attack because they killed all of each other.
Murdered each other.
On like this whole fluke of dice that was just
hey, buddy.
horrible.
Sorry.
Turns out those shields, they don't really get a lot of range of motion for those cannons.
Right, yeah,
so
yeah.
Just
yeah.
right into the back of their buddies. Right into the back.
What can we tell them about Protectorate? We could talk a little bit about the new solo that's coming for them.
Sure.
Glade.
You want to talk about that guy?
Yeah, let's talk about that guy a little bit.
All right, go
so,
for
he
it.
shoots real good.
He does.
I don't want to talk about him because I don't think I've seen his rules since they got
Sure.
finalized.
Sure.
So I'll probably get it wrong, and then you'll be like, see, you always get things wrong.
Always get it
I'm
wrong.
Pagani, I'm the best.
I actually do the cackle in the office every
yeah.
time.
You do.
It's perfect. So I'm gonna stick to concepts because I haven't actually
Yeah.
seen one in a couple weeks, and I know Oz has been working a lot on them. He
Yep.
is a Company of Iron themed model.
Yep.
So that's sort of his
He's an
his
errant.
concept.
He's an errant officer.
Correct.
Dual wields crossbows, John Woo style.
Absolutely.
Which is why I say he shoots real good.
He does. So he's dual wielding the iron crossbows, which are of course magical and blessed.
Yep.
Last time I saw, he had the rule both barrels, which doesn't make
Right.
too much sense because crossbows don't have barrels, but
But
still,
he can shoot both crossbows at you at the same time.
Yes, and I believe it's a POW 14 for that one.
That would make sense because I don't think his crossbows are any different than the exemplar errant crossbows.
And he does give, I believe, some bonuses to errants around him as well. So.
I don't know if there'll be a narrative video on the Heroic Tale of Holden, but I know that Matt Getz is writing an epilogue, and he'll be incorporating some of the events from the Battle of Boar's Gate into that narrative, and that will be how the year-long league concludes. So that tale will be told, and it's gonna be a little bittersweet, I think, for a lot of people because unless you're on the Grymkin team, you lost yourself a Grymkin killer.
I'm interested to see how the different sort of plot twists and things like that were used during Boar's Gate to modify the rules of the game really get put into the narrative that ends up spinning here. So
well, I'm positive that there'll be a couple things. I'm sure that Darius will repair the gate, as it were.
Absolutely.
And Haley rebuilding the wall with her time magic, I'm sure will have to make an appearance because that's just so cinematic.
And the gremlins infesting a storm wall.
Yes.
And claiming it for the
And moving
Grymkin
it.
after their Darius controlling it is destroyed.
Yeah. I think that one was a journeyman because that storm wall killed the Darius that was controlling the other storm wall.
And then I think it was actually Gaston came up and tried to turn it on.
Yeah. He's like, I want to take control of this. Grymkin, give me the power. And Grymkin were like, only sort of.
All right. You can turn it back on, but it's ours now.
You can
So
turn it back on.
one of the sort of things that would happen at Boar's Gate was the Grymkin players could make deals with the other players on the board to kind of help them out with their objectives, but something always went horribly wrong in these deals.
Yes. You guys were pretty brutal, those poor guys, and they kept making deals with you was the thing. I was like, after the first one blew up in their face, you think they would have stopped, but they were madmen. Both Agathea from Company of Iron and what's her name? I forget, the Storm Knight.
Agata and
Agata and
I've always known her as character Storm Knight.
It's not Elizabeth. It's something else like Elizabeth. Elizabeth Maddox. Anyway, the Storm Knight captain solo in there is also legal for War Machine Hordes.
Absolutely. So. As will this new errant.
Yep. And then we have Kralix, who is a new succubus character for Legion, and he's real gross. He's been toned down 20 times and still probably too good.
Yeah.
He's so good. Oh, he's terrifying. Gwen Keller, thank you, Privateer Press, for answering all my questions. Gwen, see, it's like Elizabeth.
It's the same.
It's real
name.
close. If you just take the
name.
letters and swap in some different letters, you get Gwen.
Just take all the Elizabeth letters out, except for the E.
Yeah.
You can keep that one. So to get back to our game here, we've had quite a good scenario press coming on here. And Souls is pushing forward into that north zone. He's really got it cleared out. He's killed a lot of those Satixes, with apparently not the help of that Glimmer, because he's still hanging out back there at the back of that zone there. So he must have rolled pretty hot on his 8s there. And it does look like he's getting some corpses here. So the Skin and Moans is going to be receiving his tasty, tasty morsels. And it looks like Longfellow just failed to kill a Bane Thrall.
Look, that Bane Thrall is a nobody. Longfellow's got better things to do with his time.
And here come the Nayslayers.
Nayslayers!
With their cavalry rules, they will receive boosted attack rolls in these charges,
Which is amazing.
which is super duper great.
They also have reposition, so they're going to be able to hit, get out of dodge. Doesn't look like any of them are going to get impact attack, which is probably smart since there's a lot of Dreadrots right there. But they could impact attack as well.
Which I know I mentioned this yesterday on the stream, but every single time I've been playing in the Iron Arena and stuff, and people are playing against me, and I charge with my Nayslayers, and I say impact attack from the Nayslayers, everyone just starts giggling at the table. Like, it's just so adorable. So adorable.
So the chat is asking what impact you think Grymkin will have in the competitive scene, and which factions will be their foils.
Their foils?
Yeah.
I think Grymkin is going to have quite a large impact. I think there are a lot of people that are currently running very low model count armies. So you see a lot of...
You see a lot of heavy metal. You see a lot of...
Jaws of the Wolf is very common. Even to a lesser extent, like
Oracles of Annihilation.
So those are some of the most popular lists in the meta at the moment, and I think Grymkin is pretty well equipped to deal with all of those. Nayslayers hit very hard and very accurately with that free boost from the cavalry charge, and that lets them deal with all of the lists that we just mentioned. So like heavy metal heavily relies
especially
on
with warcasters
spells.
like the Heretic too, who can boost their offensive potential.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of these... So, like, heavy metal really relies on Arcane Shield to gain its durability on its Colossals or its other things. We have Wraithbane in faction, so you can ignore that. Some of the casters, like the Wanderer, have Repudiate, so that can get rid of Arcane Shield. And then there's also the Ruin Arcana card, will remove all upkeeps that are in play when it's used. So they have a lot of answers to upkeep spells. They have a lot of answers to high armor in Skin and Moans, which several casters can get above power 22.
Right.
You have Weapon Master Dreadrots. You have armor-piercing Nayslayers, are all very hard-hitting. As far as accuracy goes, you have Glimmer Imps, and you have the boosted attacks from Nayslayers for Oracles. And then, of course, Ghost Fleet is another very common list here. And I think King of Nothing does a very, very good job into Ghost Fleet. His Arcana card, if you're playing in Dark Menagerie, Ghost Fleet hates losing models on their turn.
Right.
Like, that's never good for them. They always want you to have to kill them on your turn.
Yeah, so
and
they
then they
can
bring
bring
them
them back.
and then it's good to go. Whereas things like Taste of Ash, I think it's Kingdom of Silence is the spell, or the ability that lets him cast spells during his opponent's turn, so he can cast Ashes
when a
to
War
Ashes.
Beast in his thing gets destroyed.
Absolutely, absolutely. So he can do that. And then he's very hard to assassinate himself because he has Arcane Vortex from his Cage Ragers. He's got Ruin, the Arcana card that stops spells. So I think they're very well positioned in the meta at the moment, and I do think they will give a pretty good shake-up when it all comes out and goes live.
So for those people who are not interested in Grymkin but want to get prepared on their anti-Grymkin forces, what are some of the things you've seen work well?
Well, they are an infantry-based faction primarily, so having a large volume of attacks is important. As you see, Jason here is playing 3 full 10-man units of infantry with some UAs, and then a couple of the smaller units like Twilight Sisters and Nayslayers. So being able to deal with 30-plus models on the board is very important. They don't really like covering fire very much, so like storm walls are quite good. They can get around it, like if they play their beast-heavy stuff, but it can really help control them down. And ranged attacks in general are something that they are not a super fan of. They can take Kravitz, which have Shield Guard, of course, but they're not a huge fan of Skin and Moans getting shot a whole bunch, as is apparent in our battle report.
In our No Quarter battle report, you can see me try to face off against Pagani. We actually played the Grymkin narrative campaign that's featured in the Grymkin book, which was a blast. I managed to murder the Heretic in the first round by stabbing him in the back with some Chaosi, which was amazing.
That was a disaster.
It was amazing, which removed him from the campaign. Hey, it all worked out for you because then you got a child model because I had to find you a new model.
That's true.
Because you couldn't use the Heretic anymore. That probably screwed me for the last game, actually, because I feel like I would have had a much better time against the Heretic. I agree. Like, ranged armies, definitely, they have a lot of low defense, fairly low arm. models, so if you can outrange them, it's really easy. Their only major ranged unit is the Hollow Men. Well, the Hollow Men are terrifying because of the recursion on the shooting and bringing things back.
Let me interrupt you for one here, Schick, and give kind of a game update here. So Jason looks like he's controlling the zone up here at the top, so he's going to start scoring points here. I'm going to guess a lot of these kind of models end up going this direction to try and contest here, and this is a pretty strong contingent right here in the middle with not a whole lot of stuff right here from Jason. So this whole contingent very well might push in here. We have threat range all the way to this guy here. So it's entirely possible that a Slayer, or that might actually even be Nightmare, I'm not sure, could make it all the way to that Skin and Bones. And as we said, without all of his corpses, that Skin and Bones can get very, very sad. So he is not a super durable model. So there could be some big plays coming out of Jason Green this turn.
For the person asking about the Vire jacks that were shown off during the keynote, those are light jacks, so they're the first Vire lights. They're crazy awesome.
I like them. I think they're going to shake up a little bit of the Virus 2 lists that are going around at the moment. They've got some solid melee potential, and then of course they have guns, unlike the
Harpy
Shail.
with its claws is actually a surprisingly effective light as a melee fighter.
Yeah, I want to say one of them is base POW 14.
Yeah, so I believe that's the Harpy with its battle claws, and then the Siren with its gun.
Well, I mean, they both have range attacks, which brings a ton of diversity to that list. And whereas they're Virus, so they're not quite as fast as the Shail jacks, they do hit a little bit harder on their base power, and they do come with that ranged weaponry, which can really help you open up charge lanes and things like that. So I do think we'll see a slight reduction in perhaps the spam of the Griffins that we see in there at the moment, and maybe instead of running 6 or 8 Griffins, you'll only run maybe 3 or 4, and then you'll take some of these other ones.
Having access to a jack with flight,
it's really good.
That's something
really
that's
good.
Worth swapping out a Griffin for, I think, as a ret player. Absolutely. And like I said, the Harpy itself, which is the one with flight, I believe,
yes,
is the one that hits really well in melee. So, I think it's range 1 on its big claw instead of 2, but
but I think I'm pretty sure it's POW 14 base instead of the POW 13 of the Griffin.
It's legitimate.
And then instead of a shield, it has like an actual off weapon because it's a fire jack. So it's got, I want to say, a POW 14 and a POW 12.
Yeah.
Going up to a POW 17 and a POW, 19? After Synergy and Empower from an Arcanist. So they're, I think they're going to cause some waves in Retribution.
I want to say that the Harpy's 8 points?
I think the Harpy is 8 points.
And the Siren's 7?
It's either, I know they're off by 1.
Yeah.
So it's either 7 or 9.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the Harpy's 8. But we've had those done in internal playtests for quite a while, so I haven't been playing them too much recently.
And they will wind up going into CID next month with the 12 Factions of Christmas.
Absolutely.
So honestly, anything we say here is subject to change immediately.
Perhaps even before CID.
Perhaps even before CID. We are still testing.
I was saying those ones have had a lot of internal already, so I doubt they'll change too much. But
you say that.
I mean, I say that. So
I've been here almost 10 years.
I'm gonna get back in the office, and Souls
Never
is gonna be like, "We're not gonna make the fire." Be like, Jason, you can't do
Too
that.
late. You're stuck with them. Those things are sculpted.
Yes, indeed. I know Jack's really excited for them. Jack is one of our development guys, and he plays red a lot, so he's excited to get him out into the public in the wild. All right, there's a Crab It Down.
Oh, we're gonna see so it looks like he played. Is that Taste of Ash that he played, or is that a cursed?
I believe that is a cursed. Taste of Ash is the one with the purple border down there at the bottom. We get so excited talking about Vire Lights, we're missing some game stuff.
We are. Like, things are happening on the table.
So it does look like our battle line, which was here a second ago. If we go back to the main thing here, we can do this. Yeah, so our battle line that started off here is now looking more like this. So Souls has kind of claimed the top half of the board for his. And he's still got this Gorehound back here hiding behind the forest. So he's going to be able to continue to contest this south zone while scoring this north zone constantly. One of the things that I really like about SR 2017 is as these attrition games keep playing out, they can end very quickly, sort of removing that kind of slog that happens at the end of the game. So if Mr. Green here is not able to hold the middle, Souls will be able to push in and start scoring 2 points a turn and very, very quickly move ahead.
I unfortunately don't really have any information on the next Protector of Menoth caster. We're a little too far out for that. The Dragoon that's coming is really sweet.
Yes.
And the theme that goes with him is pretty nice.
Yeah, he in our CID Live earlier, we told people that let me make sure I don't get the name wrong. And I'm blanking on what it's called. The Faithful Masses will be the theme force that includes the Paladins, and that's going to be sort of the Zealot-ish theme. So the untrained, non-elite masses of
It's rude to the Paladins.
Menoth
You're clearly an exemplar guy, if that's how you're describing it. The untrained, unwashed crap masses all go in this thing. The Paladins, you too.
The Paladins in the fiction are sort of the defenders of the people, so they will be the sort of elite options inside of that theme force, where you're going to get your really high attack scores, obviously, because they're at 7 and 8, and then you're going to get your sort of elite troops from the Paladins themselves.
They're going to be the cornerstones,
Yeah.
like Paladins would be.
Yeah. They don't have that rule anymore, do they? Cornerstone?
I don't believe so. No.
That's a Mark I rule.
Yeah,
that's been a long
Cornerstone
time.
was Vilman's when you put him with 2 other Paladins, and then he'd be the cornerstone.
And then he couldn't be knocked down. And
he got all kinds of crazy stuff. And then we went to Mark II and we're like, that wasn't good enough. Let's make him immune to everything.
Everything. But the new Paladin solo does give all of the Paladins, the new Paladin Dragoon, gives all the Paladins Retaliatory Strike. So with their Stone and Mortar stance, they get to a pretty ridiculously high armor. And then especially with things like Martyrdom from Harbinger, that Retaliatory Strike can really do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
With their very high mat, very high POW, and Weapon Master. Oh, here we go. And that does look like it is a Nightmare. That is not a normal Slayer. Oh no. So the Arcana that was played is Labyrinth. So this Nightmare is only is only speed 4 at the moment. It is no longer 6.
Because Labyrinth is -2 speed.
Yes.
All things within control.
When you start an advance in control area, you suffer -2 speed. And he's going to eat him some Dreadrots.
Pagani's voice is, he's from Texas, so it's much like a fine whiskey that's been aged in a wood barrel.
Yeah.
Maybe more of a 7-year tequila.
Ooh, man, let me tell you, me and tequila, we're not friends. All right.
That's why I picked the whiskey to begin with.
They don't get invited over for parties.
Oh,
unless it's in
the Reach Troll, that was me. I've been fighting for that thing for the last 6 years, and I finally got it.
Well, Merry Christmas, Trolls.
Finally.
Look,
when I finally got it.
When I showed up, and they were like 12 factions of Christmas, I'm like, oh, so Trolls is getting Reach, and they're like, yep. I'm like, yeah.
Oh man, that was a fight. We started with the 12 factions of Christmas thing. They're like, what should we give everybody? I was like, Trolls need a Reach Heavy. That's not a character.
Yes. So.
And they looked at me.
For those of you out there that are not on Facebook or are not on following Chain Attack or other people on social media, that guy is confirmed to be a Northkin and 16 points. So those were the spoilers given out earlier today.
The best part was I was just like, just give him Reach. And then they gave him Reach twice.
Yep.
And I was like, yes.
Yep.
Sweet.
I love that he has like these 2 giant balls in the end of these chains that are his weapon, and then he also has snacking. So I want to see he's like a teppanyaki chef,
popsicles.
Like a teppanyaki chef, where he hits them up in the air and then they land in his mouth and stuff. And
I think it's more he just coats his ball in chains and guts and viscera, and then he just licks them off.
Excellent. All right, these Satixis are continuing to make super short work of these Dreadrots. With the gang and multiple attacks, they're doing a fantastic job of clearing up the middle of this zone. It does look like Tartarus got in there, some Bane Warriors. Jason is running out of models here.
Yeah, well, now you say Jason. I'm assuming you mean Souls, because when I look at the table, I'm like, he's running out of models.
Yeah.
Mr. Green has done, I like calling him Mr. Green.
Mr. Green.
Mr. Green. Mr. Green has done an excellent job of, clearing out and holding his own. He's still not up on the scenario presence, but he's winning the attrition battle for sure.
So sort of the battle lines that I've been drawing here, just sort of showing where the engagement is going and who has board position and board control and that kind of stuff. If you see the line that's right here, this one, is sort of where it started at the beginning of his turn, and he's pushed way far up there. And now this is sort of the battle line that's going on at the moment. That is really good. This gain in board is something like 8 inches, because this zone is 6 inches. Looking at some Mark II pre-measuring here. This zone is 6 inches, and there's this 3-inch ring here. So this is probably about 9 inches of board that he gained here. That is really powerful in Games of War Machine, is really being able to pressure your opponent and force them to play in their own backfield. So I mean, even if this Skin and Moans, so like even if these couple Nace layers right up here can charge down here, clear these Banes, and then the Skin and Moans can get into this guy, that's not a huge deal. Asphyxious is a beast in melee. And this
he's
is
so good.
This is definitely in his charge range.
I mean,
so
he may not be the sexiest Cryx Warcaster anymore, but back in the day in Mark 1,
oh man,
you never wanted to see him across the table. You're like, he's gonna murder me. I can't stop it.
He's so dreamy.
He's gonna spectral wings in, stab me to death. Feet stab me to death more. He was a jerk.
So, and Asphyxious has not used his feet yet.
He has not, no.
And now that I've thought about this, I'm going to make eye contact with Tony over here and be like, Grymkin don't have feats, Tony. he's smiling.
What do you do?
He's like, I know.
For the person who asked in the Twitch chat, looks like a Dory 1. The Brawler will be a standalone kit, so he'll be probably resin and metal of some type. He will not be going into the plastic War Beast kit, so he will be a unique sculpt.
Hooray!
Hooray!
So I imagine that if the King of Nothing does lose this game, this Glimmer Imp right here,
yeah,
he's just gonna be like, oh no, guys, I'm gonna go in this little building right there.
I got some holding to talk to.
I'm gonna go be dapper in this building.
Be dapper? He's very dapper.
He's got a nice little like frilly shirt on.
I really love the model, but the problem that I have is every time I look at him, he's missing an eye because he's supposed to replace his eyes with yours. But it kind of looks like he just pulled out his own eye. Like he's like, you want to know how crazy I am, boy? And he just like spoons his own eye out. He's holding it there.
I'm harder than you'll ever be.
Exactly. He's like, now give me yours as a replacement. So, no, you go. Go ahead. Right. The voice of Tony has spoken.
So in our silliness here, where we've been talking about this kind of stuff, we haven't noticed the clocks here. Jason Green is running very low on time. We did start this clock a little bit shorter than normal because we're trying to keep on schedule here, but Jason Green is down to 3 minutes left on his death clock. So he's got to play pretty quick here. Oh, here we go. And the Wither Shadow Combiner coming up to give him the Darkfire, which I believe the sound of Darkfire was. So we're going to forge our narrative here.
We are. Craft our narrative.
Craft our narrative?
We're going to craft it.
Craft it.
With macaroni.
Ooh.
Dry macaroni.
Brilliant.
And Elmer's glue.
That's going to be the next IG Finals table.
Craft macaroni?
Yep.
Dude, that would be amazing. If you just made a bunch of road tiles out of like pinwheel macaroni.
That would be fantastic.
Glued it on there. He'll be like, that's amazing. How'd you do that? Our terrain guys could paint it in a way that nobody would figure out it was macaroni. Like, you'd have to tell them.
I'm going to work with Danny on that one.
There you go.
See if we can get like a hidden macaroni building.
No, we need a new statue. It could be a macaroni statue. It'd be amazing.
Excellent. And here we go. Asphyxious is activating. He's moving up.
Don't write it out to just will, or otherwise we'll have to fight over that check. It's definitely Schick. It's the Schick will. The schickiest will.
Who's getting paid here?
Oh, I am for the Dire Troll Baller.
Oh, sure.
It's only fair.
Sure. I actually tried to nerf it last week. 2 weeks?
Leave it alone. Stop it.
Oh, and here we go. We got a Breath of Corruption coming in.
Oh. Minute 43 left.
So it does look like the zone has been cleared right here. So there's no Grymkin models in there. So we will score a point because this Nightmare and this Death Ripper will control it. Wow. It's an adventure.
What was that?
So
Did you just have a palsy? Was that what that was?
I just had like a really small stroke. But those two Warjacks will control that zone. Scoring 1 CP as we tick down the last little bit of Mr. Green's clock here. We've got 1 minute left. Does not look like this game will end in any other way but clock at the moment.
I believe that the Iron Gauntlet finals matches that were streamed yesterday are not yet on YouTube. They will probably go up this next week. We have to archive them and put them up. You should be able to still view them on Twitch, though.
Correct. The Twitch archive should have them all. It will be one massive video, though.
All right.
Oh, Asphyxious is just defeated, gaining back 7 focus.
Whoa, roll faster, roll faster.
Roll faster. Oh, man, he was in such a good position.
He was.
With the full death clock time, I think Jason would have certainly lost this game.
I think it was inevitable that Jason lost this game.
Just Souls lost this game. Oh, and that's the end of the time there.
I don't think our players care.
No, they're just going to keep
They're
going.
just going to keep
Souls
going.
Like, what is
this
that
game
clock?
is not over.
That
That's
clock
all right.
is-
We've got time to burn. Let them play. I say let them play.
Let them play.
Let them play.
Let 'em play.
Let them play. Let them. We gotta synchronize better. That was bad. That was
Oh,
like
it's better.
echo chamber.
It's better if it's not. It sounds like there's more people.
Exactly.
If we're
Yes,
unsynchronized, it's even better.
We sound like we're doing better.
Excellent. Who needs a clock anyway? Oh, okay. They are
there
going
it
to
is.
scoop it up. Good game, guys. Good game.
All right. Well, there you go. And here we are.
Hooray! We're
Watching
humans.
the clock, wondering what was going to happen. Apparently, our cries fell on deaf ears.
Indeed.
So Jason Souls wins on clock, but Jason Green, excellent play, countered the Grymkin really well.
Yep.
And again, they were on a bit of an expedited clock, so that did add an extra challenge to it.
With a little more time, I think.
Just a little more time.
He easily could have pulled that
Well,
out.
I don't think Jason would have had much to answer with. He still had his skin and moans, and
Well, I mean, Skin and Bones would have probably advanced.
probably gotten into the
destroy
set
that
like you
nightmare.
showed. Yep.
You have a Gorehound down in the south bit. Could have cleaned up a couple of Banes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the whole unit or anything. But I think Jason was crumpling pretty quickly there.
Yeah. Yep. So great game. Thank you to Jason Green for taking the staff challenge for the first game. We will be back shortly at 2 for the Penny Arcade Plays game, where they will finalize the champion for their 6-week-long event that we've been doing with them on their own channel and Penny Arcade's streaming channel. And then after that, Mr. Pagani will take up the reins for the second and last streaming game of our staff plays challenge and to wrap up Lock and Load itself.
And I believe I'm going to be playing Wanderer into Axis against Jay Larson.
Jay Larson. So that will be an exciting game. Be sure to come back for that. And we will see you shortly at 2 for Penny Arcade Plays for the championship.